Man, it is good to be in commercial. I thought that segment would never end. It seemed like if those guys would never see the light of day again too. Speaking of light, have you seen that new study on sunlight? Makes me wonder if we got it all wrong about sunlight. Which study was that? Well, you know that they have been warning us about the toxicity of sunlight since the 1980s. They have us all hiding from the sun, and lathering on tons of liquid shade sunscreen to protect ourselves. You would need to be living under a rock not to have heard. Well, now we are hearing that most of us are vitamin D deficient from lack of solar UV radiation making vitamin D in our skin. They tell us we are not getting enough vitamin D by an order of magnitude. They're also telling us that vitamin D is not a vitamin at all but a critical hormone that controls thousands of genes in our bodies. This deficiency sets us all up for cancer, diabetes, asthma, arthritis, and even multiple sclerosis. I just read a study from Japan that shows that proper vitamin D is more effective than influenza vaccine. That will put a crimp in revenue for those firms making vaccine. No wonder we are not hearing this message. So what is this recent study you were reading? Evidently they are finding that solar UV sunlight does more than make vitamin D. In this study it stated they gave mice a disease very similar to multiple sclerosis and then tested them with vitamin D and others with vitamin D and UV radiation to see which mice did better. The mice getting UV did much better than the mice only getting vitamin D. I had heard they had tied vitamin D to multiple sclerosis, but now you say it is more than just vitamin D. That is big news if multiple sclerosis patients need more UV radiation. Who ran this study? It was conducted by Drs. Buckland, Severson, Wang and DeLuca. The study was titled, UV Radiation Suppresses Experimental Autoimmune Encephalomyelitis, Independent of Vitamin D Production. It was published in March 2010. They concluded, UVB is likely suppressing experimental autoimmune encephalomyelitis, independent of vitamin D production. That means sunlight means more than just vitamin D. To our bodies. We need sunlight on our skin. Exactly. That got me looking for research into what else solar UV could be doing to improve our health beyond vitamin D. I found a study done by Dr. Lucas in 2006 and he laid out 5 benefits beyond vitamin D that UV does for us. And most of those tie into the immune system. What was the title of Dr. Lucas's study? It was titled, Considering the Potential Benefits as Well as Adverse Effects of Sun Exposure. Can all the potential benefits be provided by oral vitamin D supplementation? What were the 5 benefits other than vitamin D Dr. Lucas indicated? UVB appears to upregulate secretion of TNF and IL-10 and T regulatory cells, providing both local and systemic immunosuppression. It keeps T cells from going crazy and creating problems like multiple sclerosis. Then immunosuppression due to inhibition of melatonin production. This is to do with our circadian rhythms. Next, calcitonin gene-related peptide. Calcitonin gene-related peptide is a potent vasodilator and immunomodulator found in cutaneous nerve fibers, in close association with Langerhans cells. After that, UVB radiation stimulates the production of alpha-melanocyte-stimulating hormone, which triggers a number of things resulting in inhibition of T-cell production of pro-inflammatory cytokines. It is cytokines, out of control, that are real killers. They can damage your body. And lastly, the neuropeptide substance P, released from cutaneous sensory nerve fibers following UV irradiation, which induces lymphocyte proliferation and chemotaxis. Nitric oxide, co-located with substance P and calcitonin gene-related peptide in cutaneous sensory nerves, which may then contribute to local immunosuppression. UV-induced DNA damage and other UV-related changes can deplete Langerhans cells and also impair their antigen-presenting function. My gosh. So science is now finding that responsible, sane, safe sun exposure, while never getting a sunburn, is good for us and especially good for those suffering multiple sclerosis and other autoimmune diseases. That is what I infer from it. That will make all this sun phobia nonsense appear to be utterances of fools. Glad I am not a dermatologist. Those guys are going to take a beating. Maybe it is due. The true sun message appears to me to be, all good things in moderation. We are almost out of break. We will talk later about this. Lots to discuss on the topic. How about that vitamin D being better than influenza vaccine? That affects everybody. Sounds like a good news segment to me. People need to hear this.